These pockets, they're free. I can take one. We'll start in a couple of minutes. We're waiting on one more of our clergy leaders. And the chair of the Black Caucus will be on the way, but she gave us permission to start at the appointed hour. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for your attendance. If I say by way of identification, I am the Reverend Nelson B. Rivers III. I'm the Vice President of Religious Affairs and External Relations for the National Action Network. I work directly with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Ms. Trudy Grant is the manager of our department. I live in South Carolina. I'm a South Carolina native. I served 10 years as the state director of the NACP here in Columbia back in the 80s and 90s. So we asked you all to come, and we thank you. So we'll get started by way of introducing who is here with us. You need me to put one of these on? My preacher voice says that we're glad you're here. Yes. We have standing with us Dr. Jamie O. Graham. He's the president of the Baptist Education Missionary Convention of South Carolina, the largest Black Baptist convention in the state and one of the largest in the nation. We also have members of that convention. Dr. Leonard Griffin and others will introduce themselves to you. We're joined by two local civil rights leaders. Sister Stephanie James is the president of the National Action Network Columbia chapter. Ms. Ovita Glover is the president of the Columbia branch of the NAACP. We will start with reading a letter to you that we sent to Governor McMaster 2 days ago. Representative Annie McDaniel delivered it for us because she was going to meet with him that day, as God would have it. And I did talk to the governor on the phone. And he told me what he thought he could and could not do. But then I asked him to take a meeting and tell us to our faces what his response would be. We've not had a chance to get that confirmed, but we will roll over to his office just to let him know we're here when the press conference is over. So let me begin. I'm going to read to you the letter we sent to Governor Henry McMaster. While we commend him for his efforts on last week or earlier this week to talk about the SC1 fund, we really believe that this is something that calls on the state of South Carolina to do what it needs to do in this critical season and at this moment of definition. So let me read for you the letter. Dear Governor McMaster, I write on behalf of the National Action Network and all of our South Carolina chapters to express urgent concern about the risk that the November Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, also known in the past as food stamps, will have on our community with its disruption on this weekend. More than 250,000 households, and I hasten to say, over 556,000 South Carolinians will lose their benefits on Saturday if something is not done. We believe that calls the state of South Carolina's leadership, and particularly its governor, elected by all of them, to serve all of them, to speak out. SNAP puts food on the table. There will be worried parents, children, students, seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. An interruption would cause havoc in our community and create hunger and an emergency across this state. The governor said in his press conference that he cannot spend state funds without legislative appropriation. We respectfully disagree. That's only true for new appropriations, according to our research, but it does not leave his office without tools. South Carolina law and the state constitution gives the governor authority to act when the health and welfare of our residents is at stake. Clearly, the health and the welfare of residents are at stake, and suspend the procedures that impede the relief so that the state can respond effectively. We got this from the South Carolina legislative outline and also got it from a thorough reading of the state constitution. The Constitution also gives the governor the path to secure funding quickly. Article 4, Section 19, authorizes Governor McMaster, on extraordinary occasions, which we have now, to convene the General Assembly in an extra session, even after adjournment. His office has exercised, or can exercise this power in recent years, which confirms that if it was done before, it can be done again. If SNAP issuances are at risk, and they are, for hundreds of thousands of South Carolinians, this is an extraordinary occasion. The state also maintains reserve funds, specifically designed for unforeseen needs and the public interest. Clearly, we have an unforeseen need. The Contingency Reserve Fund is established by statute and receives year-end general fund surpluses. The Capital Reserve Fund is established in statute, Article 3, Section 36 of the state constitution. You can immediately request that the General Assembly meet in extra session and appropriate from these reserves to stabilize food access if federal benefits lapse, as they will on Saturday. I think it's also important to highlight a dichotomy we have. On the one hand, members of the General Assembly say, ain't it awful? Hungry people without food assistance starting November 1. But yet they also say they won't or don't want to, or it's inconvenient to come back. Well, I have news for them. Going hungry is much more inconvenient than coming to Columbia, which paid per diem, to take care of the people's work. They ought to make their way up here, handle their business. They did not get elected to punt, hold it off to the next time. They were elected to handle the business of South Carolina, and there's no more pressing business right now than making sure 600,000 people have food in the month of November. That's the business of the General Assembly and the governor of South Carolina. We appreciate the governor's engagement with One SC Fund and the charitable network he's trying to establish. Yet charity, we remind the governor, cannot replace public responsibility. We should not use charity instead of public policy, because it was public policy that SNAP was established. Public policy anticipated that every month, because Congress has appropriated it and it's in law, that South Carolina would receive funding for the people who need it at the lowest level of income in this state. While we appreciate what the governor did, he needs to do more. We want to urge him to do more. We ask him now to appropriate the funds effective November 1 to cover everyone who was covered by SNAP by the federal government that is shut down, that South Carolina will step in and stand in. The good news is we know that the government shutdown will not last forever. Well, we think we know that. But we do know that it's the longest one yet, and we do know many people are finally finding the voice and the courage to stand up and do something about it. We hasten to say there's nothing partisan or political about our position. In fact, most of us belong to some party, but in my civil rights role, and in my pastoral role, and in my justice role, I have no favorites in politics. I have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies. I have permanent interests. And the primary interest is justice, fairness, and equity and equality for all in South Carolina, including those who look like me. We do want to lift up that the state can take immediate action, like right now. It takes a phone call from this governor, who will walk down and greet in a few minutes if he's here, and he can declare an emergency right now. I know there will be people who will claim there's no emergency, but those are the ones who got food. Those are the ones who got money. Those are the ones who want to drive by poverty, drive by pain and misery. But what about those mothers and those fathers, those grandparents? What about the children? It is hypocritical and insulting to keep talking about how much you love children, and you will let them go without food in this prosperous nation, in this season. No matter how poor South Carolina claims to be, we still got enough money to take care of our children. And we should do that. Why? Because the need is present. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, right now. I want to also urge South Carolina to look at Article 4, Section 19, that the General Assembly can come back. And I'm mystified that some say they don't want to come back. Maybe they ought to have that same feeling in November. When they don't come back. I'm talking when the election happens. If you don't want to come back, don't run again. But if you took the job, take the responsibility. You can't have one without the other. South Carolina has tools that it can use right at this moment. We urge the governor to use those tools and bring the General Assembly back, if necessary, to use those tools. And finally, no parent should have to choose between feeding a child and paying a bill. That's right. And I want to park here for just a moment. The bane of our existence is social media, because it makes keyboard warriors out of cowards. When you say people should not get SNAP because they ought to get a job, you're showing your ridiculous amount of ignorance. Because the truth is, most of the people who get SNAP are working. In fact, they're working too. I'm from downtown Charleston. I grew up in a place called Bennetts Point. They're working 2, 3, and 4 jobs just to make an end meet. And when you suggest, there's another issue that I'm going to help shed some light on. There are some folk, not everybody, I don't think the majority, but some pundits make racist and ill-informed statements that the majority of folk who receive SNAP are black. I got news for you, that you can't have a state that has a 70-something% white population where they don't get the majority of everything, including every bad thing or every necessary thing. So Richland County receives more SNAP than any other county. But guess which is 2, 3, and 4 after Richland County? Greenville, Spartanburg, and Old Reed. Last I looked, they were called red counties. It doesn't matter who you vote for. The president does not serve his or her party. They serve the United States of America. The governor does not serve his or her party. They serve the state of South Carolina. It does not matter if I voted for you or talked about you like a dog for all the time you were running. I'm still your citizen. And your job is to provide for my welfare, not your partisan political opinion. That's just the fact. If you can't do that, don't raise your hand and swear to uphold the Constitution of South Carolina and the United States. Stop lying. Make up your mind. You want to uphold your party's politics, or you want to take care of the people of South Carolina or the people of the United States of America? So on behalf of the South Carolina chapters of the National Action Network, our religious and faith leaders who are here with us, and all those who genuinely are concerned and some outrage that we even are here. Why are we here 2 days away from the money running out and not doing anything about it when we have millions of dollars in a reserve fund? Bulletin. The emergency fund is for emergencies. Brothers and sisters, we got an emergency. We will share with you, and you will have, let me give you some highlights. South Carolina has 46 counties. I've been to all 46 of them at least once. Richland County has 23,000 households as of September, but 49,227 people on SNAP. But Greenville County, which is up the road, a very conservative but very nice place. My son has a law office up there. They have 20,000 households, 20,239, but they have 42,430 people receiving SNAP. Spartanburg, South Carolina, has 16,917. They have 37,698 people receiving SNAP. Horry County, where the beach is, even where the beach is, there are 31,785 receiving SNAP. I did the math. In South Carolina, the black population, depending upon the year that you check, runs between 26 and 27%. The African American population is overrepresented in the amount of SNAP recipients. They make up around 40%. But guess who makes up 57%? 57. It is our white brothers and sisters. So those who claim that they don't care if SNAP runs out because it only hurts black folk, there are some racists who say that. And trust me, if you say that, you are a racist by self-definition. Then what about the reality and the truth is, it doesn't matter what you look like. If you're a citizen of South Carolina, we should care whether you're black, white, or brown. We care because no one in South Carolina in this century should go hungry when money has been appropriated to make sure they don't. We call the state to be accountable. We urge and press the governor to step out. The governor is lame duck. The governor said to me personally, he's not going to run again for anything except the beach. So that means he can do anything he wants to do. That's right. And the good news is his heart seems to be convicted and right. I've known him 40 years. This is his chance to lead the state. Take the hit, speak truth to power, and tell them if they don't like you doing right, tell them meet you at the poll. And back in 2018 or whatever that is. We need him to stand up now. Not because we ask it. The people of South Carolina require it. The time for leadership. The time for leadership is when the season requires it. We're in a moment now where the governor of South Carolina must step up and stand up. We have with us now Dr. Jamie O. Graham, the leader of the Baptist Convention of South Carolina. He will come, make a statement. Is Reverend Moore here yet? Yes. Reverend Moore will come and make a statement on behalf of Bishop Fairley, who is the presiding prelate of the South Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church. We also have the well wishes and support of Bishop James Davis, who has a conflict. He could not be here. He is the prelate of the 7th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Now let's hear from our friend and brother and our leader, Dr. Graham.
To Governor McMaster's, the members of the General Assembly, and fellow citizens of South Carolina, while I stand to represent the nearly 200,000 Black Baptists of South Carolina, I am also concerned about every citizen and every family of this great state of ours. We're all God's children, called to answer the Matthew 25 mandate to take care of the least among us. So I appeal to the leadership to make the right decision so that our elderly and our children, the most vulnerable of South Carolina, will not have to suffer the lack of the basic necessity of life, and that is food. Thank you, and God bless.
God bless you. Reverend.
Good afternoon. I'm Regina Moore, and I serve representing at the request of Bishop Leonard Fairley, the South Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church. I also serve as the Executive Minister and CEO of the South Carolina Christian Action Council under appointment by the Bishop. Governor McMaster, in the last 24 hours, the people have spoken. They say, with all due respect, it's time to snap out of it and declare a state of an emergency now. South Carolina's families cannot eat political stalemates. They cannot pay the grocery bill with promises. They certainly cannot survive when SNAP benefits, the very bridge between hunger and hope, are hanging by a thread because of this federal shutdown. When government grinds to a halt, it's not the wealthy or the well-connected who go hungry. It's the working mother in Manning choosing between milk and medicine. It's the grandfather in Sumter who stretches beans and rice across 3 nights. It's the child in Florence whose free lunch program can't make up for empty cupboards at home. In the social principles of the United Methodist Church, we boldly declare that food is a basic human right.
Yes.
We affirm that feeding the hungry is not charity, it is justice. Programs like SNAP are not handouts, they are lifelines. They ensure that dignity survives in households where hope too often starves first. Restricting access to these benefits would place unbearable strain on families already fighting to meet their most basic needs. Governor, I pastor a church that believes faith must take flesh in compassion. At Aldersgate United Methodist Church in Sumter, we are converting our church library into a food pantry because we expect our blessing box to be in high demand. We are already experiencing a spike. We are doubling down on our backpack food ministry to 30 elementary students in our community every week so that they have food security over the weekend. We are grateful for community partners, business owners, teachers, students, and retirees who are helping us stock those shelves. The community is doing its part. The church will continue to do its part. But Governor McMaster, we need the government to do its part.
Yes.
Declare a state of emergency and fund the food. Declare a state of emergency so that people can access the people's assets. Yeah. The power entrusted to you ensures that no South Carolinian goes hungry because of political dysfunction. We cannot pray over empty plates and call that faithfulness. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back up, both of us. We're open for any questions. Come on, Reverend.
What kind of moral crisis are we in today? That's what this seems like.
It is more than a moral crisis. It is a moral and political failure. And our challenge is the shutdown should not make us shut up. We need to make sure that this state takes care of its business. And that is making sure no one goes hungry when resources are available. Dr. Graham made this point, and it rests in my spirit all the time. South Carolinians, especially those who walk the halls up here, are infamous for saying they're Christians. Some even say they want to be Christian nationalists. That's a whole sermon, but it can't be done. You can't be both Christian and national. Make up your mind. But the truth is, when you declare you are a follower of Christ, that means you understand the Matthew 25 mandate. And Jesus said, when I come back, I will call the nations together and judge the nations. And the simple test, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was in prison, did you see about me? When I was sick, did you visit me? If the answer is no, you didn't do it for Jesus either. Please text, tweet that. I need these folk walking around claiming they know the Lord and follow Jesus to understand that's not something you can do with your mouth. Christianity is an action ministry. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is what you do. That's why Jesus said, don't listen to a thing they're saying. I'm too busy watching what they're doing to hear what they're saying. So our answer is, this crisis can be ended now, literally. It can be ended before the end of the day. But we need to make sure the people who have the responsibility match it with the will to do right.
I feel like, just like in the 1929 speculative crisis on Wall Street, we saw that older Americans were some of the most vulnerable. There are many people that don't know that people under 18 and those over 65 live in the same house, especially here in Richland County. Do you feel at this point they are intentionally trying to run the gambit to ensure that churches, food pantries, and community social safety nets are wiped out too?
I can't speak for their minds. It's hard enough to interpret their actions. But what I do want to say, this is not new for many of us. Probably not most of y'all my age. But I'm 74, I'll be 75 next month. Holler when you hear me. So the truth is, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
When we were the sole target, and poor whites, black folk had no access, and white South Carolinians and anyone in the South, really in the nation, had little access. That's where churches had to do all the work. But look at where we are. We got folk flying across the world on the same day. We have folk doing work that's looking now for the cure to cancer. How did we get here? And why are we here? And the answer is the political will is not present. Our job, our ministry and our mission is to give them a shot of will. If they don't have it. So we came to increase the will so the people can have a government that protects them and not takes advantage of them. Anyone else? We covered all of it? Praise ye the Lord. Any more stations? We good? Everybody's good? Thank you all so much for coming. We thank you for taking the time. And more is on the way. God bless you.